Hello, welcome back to Ginny's. I'm Ginny and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a gluten and dairy-free carrot cake. So this is going to be start of my new little section which is all going to be featured for gluten-free and dairy-free. So there's a little drop box here, little arrow, and if you press that all the ingredients will come out in that, so you can screenshot it and do as you please, and it saves me reading them all out here for you. So I'm going to be using the Dove's flour, the Dove's self-raising flour. I'll explain a little bit about that as we go along. I've also got some xanthan gum as well, which even though it's in the flour I like to add a little bit more. So let's begin, and to start with, this is going to be making 3 8-inch cakes. So I'm going to go in here with my gluten-free self-raising flour, xanthan gum, the baking powder, bicarbonate soda, sorry, is what I'm using, and also then I've got some cinnamon and some nutmeg in there. So they're just going to go and sit like that. Okay. Then we're going to add in the sugars. So I've got light brown sugar, and I've also got caster sugar. The brown gives the really nice deep flavour coming through, and the white just helps it to not get too burnt and does lovely stuff to it. Okay, so then I've also got oil. Now in with this oil, I've got a tablespoon of treacle. Just deepen that flavour that little bit more, and that's when I say flavourless oil underneath, I mean not olive oil, so I mean something like sunflower oil or vegetable oil or canola oil, something that just doesn't have the flavour. Then I've got my eggs, and I've got my vanilla, and before I add my carrot I'm just going to mix this up. So on low, we're just going to let that have a mix. Now, the thing about gluten-free flour is it's thirsty. It's like a sponge, and it needs a lot of liquid in there to absorb, to stop that grainy, sandy texture. Also, the amount that we rest it for is also another really big thing that you need to be careful of. So, one fun thing about it though is you don't have to worry how long you mix it for, because you're not stretching out any of the glutens or anything, because there's none in there. So we're going to make sure that this is really nicely combined and that there aren't any lumps of flour in there. And like I said, we don't have to worry about how long we are actually, I'm just putting it up a little bit quicker, we don't have to worry how long it's in there, because it's not going to do it any harm. So mine is looking lovely and incorporated. So I'll show you this now, what mine looks like. It's a wet mixture. Now with gluten free, you want it to be a wet mixture. If it's not a wet mixture, you know you're going to have a problem. Okay, so when I tip that there, you can see the colour and you can see how wet that is. Next, we're going to add in the carrot. And give that another go round. So I have got 3 tins on the back here, which I'm going to pull forward now. With regular carrot cake, you would make sure that you put this straight into the tins and put it straight into the oven. Another really big thing with gluten-free is a resting period. Because it's so thirsty, I suppose an easy way of saying it, it's thirsty and lazy, and it takes a long time to drink it up. So we need to rest it. So I'm going to give this a scrape now to make sure everything is incorporated off the bottom, and then as a minimum of half an hour. So between half an hour and an hour, just want to let that rest. If it's really warm where you are, just pop it in the fridge, but it's fine. I'm happy just leaving mine there. So I'm going to leave mine for half an hour, let that drink up all of that liquid that we've put into it, and then we can take it in, put it into the baking trays, and we can bake it. Now, I have made a mistake a couple of times of thinking, right, I'll just wash up, so I've put this straight into the tins, let them rest in there. Don't do that, because you get a slight skin across the top, and then when it bakes, it struggles and you get these pop kind of marks. So make sure that you rest it in this. I'm going to come back in half an hour. We are then going to give it a final little whisk around, and that'll get rid of any kind of thin film that there is and put it into baking trays. So look how simple that was, and let's lay a house little drink and I'll see you in half an hour. Okay, so it's been half an hour, mine's been about 40 minutes, I was in the middle of something. We're just going to give it that last bit of a stir around, just to, like I said, if there's any kind of a skin on the top, that's going to just remove that. Not that it's thick skin or anything, because it's not. But we just want to make sure that it's not settled or anything and it's completely combined. So, I'm happy. Now we need to get it into tins. So that will have just drank up all of that liquid now. And this is the problem sometimes with the gluten-free flours, is a lot of people complain that they can be quite sandy and crumbly, and that's the reason why the person that made it just didn't let it rest and you treated it like normal flour, and you can't do that, unfortunately. So it does make your baking time a little bit longer, but it is for the taste so much more worth it. Right, so now we need to pour these in. If you want to do this equally, you can weigh each tin, weigh what's in here and divide it between. But I'm just going to go on I1, 2, 3. Smells so good. I love this carrot cake. Now, my family are massive fans of carrot cake, and actually they really, really like this. So, I must have done something right. Excellent. There we are. So give them a little bit of a shake. Pop that down. And these are going to go into the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. I'll let you know exactly how long mine took because I'm putting the 3 in. Now, I am putting 3 in because I've got a fan-assisted oven. If you don't have a fan-assisted oven, you're going to need to make sure that you only do 2 at a time because they need to be on the same shelf. So you can all you need to do with this is divide the recipe by 3, and that'll give you 1 of the sponges and then times it by how many other sponges that you need. In fact, I'll do it. In this box here, I'll divide it by 3, I'll give you 1 8-inch sponge, and then you can do as many layers as you want. That'll make it easier. Let's get these into the oven and I will see you when they come out. Okay, I'm about 5 minutes off that coming out of the oven. So what I'm going to do right now is explain the buttercream to you. So first off, butter that I'm using is any block vegan butter to make it dairy free. I use this one, which is the Flora plant-based. It's really good for buttercream. It's got quite a nice flavour, and it's also, it dries. It's quite hard, so it does give you that genuine buttercream kind of consistency, so I really recommend this one. We are going to use icing sugar. There is my butter. And then for my cream cheese, I'm using a dairy alternative. My dairy alternative cream cheese is using coconut oil, which a lot of them do. So that's what I'm using there. Again, and then again, all of my ingredients will be in this little box. I've got vanilla, and then I am going to be using some meringue powder just because that stiffens this a little bit. Now obviously this does contain egg, but we're not doing vegan, we are doing dairy free, so all will be good. Right, I'm going to start with buttercream the way that I always start with buttercream. In goes my butter, she says. Right, let's get the butter out. So in goes the butter, and I always mix my butter so much so that it's whipped and whipped and whipped, and I do this with a balloon whisk to start with. So we're going to give this 5 minutes, stopping and scraping down every 2 minutes, and we're going to really, really whip that so that it absorbs this icing sugar lovely, so we don't get any grittiness. So I'm going to turn it up, medium to high, scrape down every 2 minutes. Okay, my cakes are ready. So I'm just going to give these a check. So I've just got something to stab them with. So let's just make sure that they are coming out clean, which they are. Perfect. So I'm going to get these out. And I have 1, 2, and 3. So that's what they look like. They're really, really soft and lovely there. And the smell is gorgeous. Now just pop them on the back on parchment paper. I am going to take them out and flip them over just because it does reduce them down just that little bit. I always like to do that. So they took 30 minutes at 160 degrees on a fan assisted. You'd need to do 180 if you don't have a fan assisted oven. So they do take that little bit longer. Again, that's the gluten-free flour and then a little bit more liquid that we've had to put in there just for that flour to work. So that's done. Turn the oven off. Leave those there. I have just done 2 minutes of this, so I'm going to now give it a scrape down and then I'll be back to you in 3 minutes time. Okay, that's done. So I'm just going to remove these because I can touch the tin now. So just make sure that you can get them out around the side, and then on the baking parchment, just pop them out. So soft. And this just helps them to lower down a little bit and get a little bit more of a flatter top, so you haven't got so much waste there. We will cut the top off. With the gluten-free, it is nice because there is almost, it's not hard on the top, it's just a little bit thicker, so we will just take that little edge off. So they can just rest on the back there. Here's my buttercream. So that's my buttercream and my cream cheese all in together. It looks lovely, and it's got so much air in it now and it's really reduced in colour, which is great. So we need to add in our icing sugar. Right, so I do my buttercream in 2 or 3 stages. So I'm just going to probably do this in 2. So I'm going to add half of the mixture, like that, and then drop this down, put it on low, and grab a tea towel, pop it over the top because it's going to go everywhere. So on the lowest speed, just until, there we go. The Kenwood has very low speed, so it's quite good for this. Right. So we're just going to keep going round while it incorporates and starts looking a little bit like breadcrumbs, and then just start easing it up that little bit. Not so much that you turn into a ghost. So we are just going to keep that going until that's incorporated, and then we're going to add the second. Right, so that's coming together absolutely lovely now. I am at this point going to add in my vanilla. Now I've got 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and I am just going to add that in, just so, because the coconut cream cheese isn't quite as wet as regular dairy cream cheese. So I'm just going to give it a little bit more moisture for when we add this into it. Now that's ready to add. There we go. So it now looks like this. So I'm just going to tip the last part of this in. There we go. Right. And then again the same on that lowest speed. Tea towel if yours doesn't go this low. And we'll just start incorporating that. So I'm just going to let this go once it's incorporated for around about 2 minutes with that balloon whisk on a medium speed. 2 minutes, and I will be straight back. Okay. I keep going the wrong way because the camera's a different way. Okay, so I have taken that off and we've got some lovely buttercream, but it's notoriously wetter when it is cream cheese. So I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of meringue powder, and this can stabilise. So 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon. So I'm just going to put that in there. I'm going to see how we go. We might increase it. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I'm going to put this back on, and this is why we're keeping the balloon whisk, because obviously it's meringue powder, so it's going to add some air into that as well. And we're just going to let that go again for a couple of minutes, just to let that meringue powder just stabilise it and fluff up that little bit inside. So that has worked a lot better. Look at the way it's holding inside of the balloon whisk now. But I think I can just go up that one little bit more. So I'm just going to add the same amount again. So that'll be 2 tablespoons for this. Put it back on, and then we're going to be done. Right, okay, it's done. So, let's get all that out of there. That last bit of meringue powder really, really helped. Sometimes, as you'll be able to see on my spoon here, it split a little bit. Now that's because of all the oils that we've got going on that you don't normally have with the dairy. With the dairy, it's all just milk. You've got your cream cheese in there, which is dairy. You've also then got your butter, which is dairy. This is lots of oils coming together. So we had coconut oil and all the oils that were in the butter. So as soon as we added that meringue powder, that completely sorted that out. So it's no longer had a fight with oil. So you can, oh, I've got a blob there. You can put this back on the mixing bowl with just for a couple of minutes on low with a paddle, just to take out some of those air pockets. But I really love doing it by hand because I can see the difference. So if you took a bowl and then you just work your way around like this, look at the consistency of it starting to change. And it starts to become smoother, and I feel like I've been to the gym. But there we go, look at that change. I do this when I'm using my buttercreams before I use them for flowers or anything. Now I just want to have a little word about the vanilla. In my recipe I will say that I use 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Every vanilla extract has a different strength to it, so taste, 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 always taste. With this I would use a minimum of 2 teaspoons. But you can go up to 3. If that's too much for you, bring it back down. So taste, always give it a really good taste to see where you're happy. So that is it, and come back to you when we get ready to assemble later. So I'll see you later. Okay, so we have carrot cakes. Look at these. Don't they look lovely? And then I just trimmed the top of those off like I said. It is here. And if I pull some of this apart, you can see it's so soft. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just aesthetically, I'd rather it not be on there. So the cream cheese is in a bag and I've got a 2D. And I'm just going to put some on there. I am going to just do a naked carrot cake here for you. So I'm just going to push and lift, push and lift. Then we're just going to take some of this top part and we're just going to scrunch it all up, and it's so soft that it just comes together like this so nicely, and we're going to make it into like breadcrumbs. Made a right mess there, haven't we? Right, and then all across the top we are just going to finely put some of this across here. And that really brings the whole thing in together. Okay, so that is our gluten-free and dairy-free carrot cake, and I absolutely love this. So I hope you really enjoy it as well. Let me know what you think, and I will see you all really, really soon. And don't forget to subscribe so you can see all of my other recipes. I will see you really soon. Take care. Bye-bye.